Hello, in this video we're going to be doing an orchid bloom showcase of my Callianthe Loop Tone SD. Now this is an orchid that is, among other things, it's a very complex hybrid. It is mainly a Callianthe, Gutata, Luteola, and Aurantiaca. And this is actually my first Pick My Orchid. And since this was my first Pick My Orchid, I don't think people necessarily understood what I was trying to do. So I only had one person respond to the Pick My Orchid, and that was Burrow Kitty, and she chose this orchid. So this is a first bloom for me, but this plant is actually a division of a blooming size orchid. So this isn't its first blooming, but it's definitely this division's first blooming for me here. And as you can kind of see, let me bring in a little bit closer. So as you can see, this is a really compact orchid. It's a little bit tall. This cane that it's on, that it's blooming on, is about 1.5 feet, but it's super compact in here. I think there's, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 9 pseudobulbs in like a 12-ounce plastic cup. So like I said, really compact, and it's definitely an easy grower. I haven't had any issues with this Cattleya, and as you can see, or rather this Callianthe, and as you can see, it's got lots of good roots in there. The moss is black because of the humic acid, and some of the roots have been stained black, but nothing should be rotting in there, at least rotting too much. So next we're going to look at the flowers. So here's the main event, and what you all came to see is my 4 blooms on my Callianthe Loop Tone SD. So these are fairly orangish. There's a little bit of yellow flaring as you get towards the center of these petals, and they're lightly spotted. I don't know if you can tell. Let me bring this a little bit closer. There we go. So you can see there's a little bit of spots in there. It's got a nice red lip with some veining in it. The only thing I don't particularly like about these ones, well, I half like and half don't like, is that, well, let me show you with this one to the side as well so you can kind of see it. But you'll see that they don't open fully. They kind of stay a little bit cupped. Not that that's an issue, because like I said, and this is actually a great example of this, if this flower was completely flat, there wouldn't, there you go, so you can focus on that. So if this flower was completely flat, there wouldn't really be much to see from the side, but since it's a little bit curved forward, I can still get a little bit, you know, there's a little bit of spotting on this petal that I can see, and I can still see a lot of the color as well as the lip from where I'm standing. Maybe not from where the camera's at, but from up here where my face is, I can see still a lot of different aspects of the flowers and the petals, and not just, you know, like the lip protruding if it was like completely flat. So back to these little babies. So I think this is actually the most Cattleya flowers, or the most flowers I've ever had on any of my Cattleyas. And granted, a lot of them are still young, but still I was very happy to have 4 blooms for once on, actually I think, any of my orchids that isn't like a Cymbidium or an Oncidium Twinkle or something like that. But these flowers, they kind of smell like latex balloons. I was hoping for like a rosy fragrance or something kind of crazy in a good way, based off of the reviews and sort of posts on orchid forums that I've seen about this orchid. So maybe I'll get them in the next blooming, but for this one it just smells like latex balloons. And the petals themselves are fairly waxy. I'd say sort of middling as far as thickness goes. They're not the thickest petals I've ever felt, but they're definitely not thin by any means. And the lip is a little bit velvety, as you would expect from the color. And Yeah, not much more to say about the flowers. Although something that was interesting that I found is that Cattleya Luke Tone has like two main color forms. One is the red form and one is a yellow or orangish form. And this SD is kind of an intermediary between the two. It's got a little bit of the yellow, some orange, or darker yellow, I guess you would say, leaning more towards red, and freckles that are red. But I'll post, obviously there'll be photos in here so you can see what I'm talking about. But I just thought that was interesting that there's not a lot of variation in this cross. It's mainly like two binaries, and then like the SD is kind of like right in the middle as far as the yellow and red forms are concerned. And this does have Cattleya or Cattleyanthe chocolate drop in its ancestry, and you can really see that in the red form of Cattleyanthe Luke Tone. Okay, so we've talked about my history of the plant, we've talked about the roots and its growth habit, we've talked about the flowers. There's not really anything much more for me to say about this Cattleyanthe except that I love it and I think it's great and I can't wait for it to bloom again, hopefully be a little bit more fragrant. Anyways, this has been my Orchid Bloom showcase of Cattleyanthe Luke Tone SD. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Oh, and just real quick before I leave, I just wanted to say that these have been open for about a week and a half, and I've seen online that they can last up to 4 weeks, and that the color on these petals will deepen as the blooms get older. Although they did come out kind of looking this orange, they have deepened a little bit in like the tips, but not anything super drastic like a BC Yellowbird, I think it is, or a Richard Mule or anything like that. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!